No one in this world understands how much this was everything I have ever wanted. My hopes, my dreams, my dream man. And I'm on a new vibration. I'm building my own foundation. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. Hey guys, what is up? It's your first Storytime YouTuber, your girl Mariah, coming back at you guys with another Storytime. This is future editing Mariah having to make my intro because as I was editing earlier, I realized, girl, you don't even have an intro. This Storytime is actually going to be the ending, the last bit of my Pendejo series here on my channel. If you guys are interested in the series of this man that I dated over a period of time and constantly receiving treatment from him, if you're interested in those crazy videos, I'll link them down below. This video is going to be the end of it and how things actually end up taking a turnaround. So if you're interested in hearing about how things ended up turning completely around, doing a whole 180 with this Pendejo man, then just keep on watching, girl. I actually had to make this as fast as I can because I have work this morning. I'm doing my makeup, but your girl woke up late. Last time I told a Pendejo series story, left off where he got his own apartment. Because I'm going to end the series already, I want to iterate the context behind his and I's dynamic of him constantly ghosting me, breadcrumbing me. Y'all know, if you've kept up with the Pendejo series here on my channel, y'all know that he was a little bit of an a-hole to me and barely giving me anything that I was relatively wanting from him. Going back to that, I found out he had his apartment, and there were probably like maybe one or two times he invited me over so that way I can get the D. Those one or two times were probably on like being a drunk basis, like just a spontaneous being in the moment kind of thing where I just pull up and then, you know, we do what we do. It wasn't really on some kind of like cutesy shit. It was more like, go ahead, come over, and I go over and I'm drunk and like, you know, we hook up. It was still a lot of him ghosting me and breadcrumbing me. And of course, y'all know I'm like madly in love with this man, so I was always wanting more, and couldn't really bear the fact of me being without him. Truthfully, that's truthfully where I was standing in my mind. There came a point where it was like hitting August time, and I'm not gonna go in detail of what exactly he asked me for, but he did ask me for a favor. And because of like my mindset and how I was back then, I was very conditional. I would conditionally give to him. And of course I was all down for helping him, but I reminded him of his ways. And I was just like, you know, you've done this, this, and this to me. It was nothing for nothing. At this time, it was always like tit for tat. Like, I'm gonna scratch your back, boy, you're gonna scratch my back for sure with the massage. So I'd let him know, I don't mind helping you, but what you gonna do for me? Like, what's in it for me? That's where I kind of want to take accountability in the ending of the story of this series, because yes, Pendejo was not taking away the way he handled certain situations wasn't the best, and he may have had a lot of a-hole tendencies. I wasn't a saint either. I just want to take accountability where accountability is due and say I wasn't unconditional with him. There was always conditions on what I would give him. There was always like, well, I did this for you, what are you gonna do for me? Which, if you really love somebody, you wouldn't do that. You would do it just because you purely love them, right? I always wanted something in return. So I told him like, hey, if I help you, what you gonna do for me? And so, of course, with the conditions I placed on him for helping him, he didn't go through with all the conditions, and it was still very breadcrumby. If someone is barely giving me any attention, obviously, like, I'm gonna go get it from somewhere else. So there were other guys that I was dating at this time when he wouldn't talk to me. Of course, y'all know, like, Pendejo was my person I've always been in love with. Pendejo was the one that I actually wanted to be with. But in the meantime, I was having my fun and entertaining other guys because, like, I'm not gonna wait around for you. I started noticing if I were dating them or they wanted a relationship with me, I was kind of materializing the same man and the same dynamic, but with different faces. I noticed I was getting in like the same little bickers and arguments with different guys, and I was just like, okay, Mariah, like there has to be something here where you are the common denominator. The way things played out with my girl's dad, the way Pendejo and I were always getting into little like conflicts, how I would notice like I would start talking to a guy and then the same kind of like little bickers with these guys. I was just like, okay, obviously it's me, like I'm the common denominator here. Sorry if I'm like this, it's just because I'm trying to get ready. I'm not the hunchback from Notre Dame, okay, I promise you. I just looked at myself and I was just like this is where I really started getting into mindset. This is probably gonna be the most boring, not so much drama Pendejo series video. I just want to like, before I continue, so if you want to click off now, girl, go ahead and click off. But if you're interested, I appreciate you sticking around. I realize that you can change people, but obviously you need to change yourself. You need to change what you believe about yourself. There's a lot of internal work to do when you really want a dynamic to change. And to me, in my mind, I was grateful that Pendejo came into my life, because without him realizing and without his full intention on doing this, he really did push me to want to be better. He really did push me to want to change. And I love him so much that I really just wanted a different dynamic with him. I was over and through with the toxicity. I was over and through with me always doing a tit for tat. I was tired of always feeling like I wanted to just get revenge on him and I wanted him to feel my wrath. And I was tired of always being in the dark, like always doing things in the dark. Like I didn't want that to be our dynamic anymore. And I just wanted a better version of him because I knew he was in there. I really did. Like I trusted that full-heartedly. And I'm like, no, like I've seen him be this really cute, sweet man. It's just, it probably, a lot of it is me. I was determined, girl. I was determined to get my man's back. Not even just that, but other areas of my life too. I really wanted to see a difference. I wanted different engagements. I wanted different interactions with people. I wanted to be treated differently. Things I was starting to do was take care of myself more, prioritizing myself. I started journaling. I started writing my affirmations, telling myself a different story in relation to different people. Instead of me always thinking of people as a-holes and, you know, they hate me and they're out to get me, I started changing how I was viewing them. Like, no, they're actually really sweet. No, they actually really love me. No, they actually want the best for me. And I would catch myself and I would just kind of tell myself a new story, because little by little, as time progresses, that dynamic is going to change because you're changing how you're perceiving people. So that's what I started doing with him. Just me doing this for like a couple months, I really was able to change our dynamic. Now, y'all must be asking, like, well, did he hold up his end of the bargain? Like, what did he do? Well, no, he didn't. I'm not going to get into details of what, you know, his end of the bargain was, but he didn't. And so I just kept persisting, and I was just like, no, like, I know he means well, I know he means different. Later on, as months passed, this is probably like October or like late September by this point, I would ask him for some D, because that was like my only way I would be able to see him. I would hit him up, and sure enough, he was actually willing to have me over. He was actually willing to have me stay the night with him. I started getting more time with him. I started getting a different side to him completely. When I would stay over, he was more affectionate with me. He was softer with me, for sure. I started seeing just that cute, sweet side to him again. For sure, went from me like seeing him every so often, barely talking to him, to, girl, I promise you, from that time on, I was over there, if not every Thursday, every other Thursday. I was taking my spend the night bag. I was staying over there with him. I was spending a lot of time with him. I was taking him food. I would cook for him. I was really out here like being that girl for him. Before, he wouldn't even allow for me to do something like that, but at this time he was just like, yeah, like, okay, you can come over, like, you know, come over, like, I want to see you. From me going over all the time and staying the night and it just being kind of like casual, like hooking up, he actually started being more open now to going on dates with me. So we were going to the mall, we would go shopping. Our favorite thing to do, we would bond over food, girl. We would go eat. We would have little sing-alongs in the car. So many songs remind me of him because of these times. Like, we would just like be singing at the top of our lungs. We would be singing Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis. Like, that man has some pipes, okay? That man has some pipes. And he'd be like, nah, but like, I sing better. Like, I was getting this joking, playful, lighthearted, pendejo. And honestly, I really started like falling for him. I was just like, this is the man that I know who is in there. That was October, November, we were hanging out. December comes around. He came and he put my lights up for me at my house, like my Christmas lights. He was starting to come over to my house. He was starting to stay the night with me pretty often. We had a date to go to a light show, like a drive-through light show, like an outdoor one. It was pretty fun. Like we were laughing. We were just like, what the fuck is this? Like, we went to go see Spider-Man. There was a lot of cute moments, and I really was getting that side to him that y'all know from the beginning, going all the way back to me stalking him in the bar, going all the way back to him leaving me at the restaurant, to like him like always agreeing to be around me or always wanting to be around me. So his birthday comes around and Christmas, and I took him shopping because y'all know me. When I'm in love, I'll do anything, everything for you. What do you want? What do you need? You want to go see a show? You want to go to a concert? Like, I got you. I'll find the way. I'll make the means to make it happen for you. This man was top tier in my mind. I would go out of my way and do anything for him in my own way that I could. I tried to spoil the crap out of him. Like, if I didn't have the money, you best believe I was picking up shifts to like get some money together so I can like get him what he wanted. I got him some boots. I think I got him something else, like something from Boot Barn. And I also had planned to like take him out, and I was like, oh, let's have fun, like let's go be kids, you know, let's do something. So I had planned for him to enjoy his birthday at Dave & Buster's. And so his birthday comes around and it's like a Monday or something, and of course I told y'all I go see him on Thursdays. So I understood that Monday like I wasn't gonna be able to go and see him, but I was like, Thursday I got you, I'll go see you, like be ready so that way we can go to Dave & Buster's. I get to his apartment and he's like in joggers and he's laying down on his phone. I was just like, what's wrong? Like, you okay? And as I mentioned, I was spending a lot of time with him, so I really got to know him, and my compassion for him grew. Not taking full accountability for how he handles certain situations, because I mean, he could have handled it better, okay? I am a firm believer in people do know what they do, but I could see insight as to why he may have came off how he did. And I started learning that it's not an excuse, but this man had a form of social anxiety. His social meter had to be up there for him to like get himself together and be like, okay, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do something. Because if not, he really is a homebody. He really likes to stay in his little hermit. There are days where he'd rather just like be on his phone and lay in his bed and like not do anything. The most he'll do is like maybe go to the gym and like go get himself something to eat, and other than that, he's going back home, he's going back in his little cave, right? But he doesn't mean anything by it. That's just how he handles his situations. And me always having bugs in my booty, I would get offended if he didn't want to do something with me. But this day I saw that and I was like, oh, he's having his little moment. And when I got there, I was like, why aren't you dressed? Like, come on, let's go. He's like, I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't feel like being around people. Like, I don't want to go out. I know I look crazy right now, but change of locations. So I wasn't able to finish my makeup because I go in at 8:15 and I didn't realize it was already 7:50. Girl, I darted out of my house so fast. I grabbed all my makeup. I was like, you know what, I'll just finish it at work. I have about like 7 minutes. So future editing Mariah here. I was watching back on the video and I realized I forgot to mention that day he didn't want to do anything, and I had asked him, I was like, okay, like, so what do you want to do? He's like, honestly, I don't feel like going out. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'll lay here with you, like I'll be here with you, like what do you want to do? Like, you want to lay down and watch a movie? I'll watch, you know, little tiki-takis with you. Like, what do you want to do? Because I wanted to make that day about him. I wanted to just do what he wanted to do, which I really liked that part of him, where with him and I, it's like we could lay in a bed and like scroll on our phone and we don't have to talk, and we're not mad at each other. We're not like, why aren't you talking? Like, I'm bored. Like, I don't get bored with him, but he don't get bored, and like it's just like we don't have to talk. Like, our presence like is fun. That following weekend we ended up going to Dave & Buster's. We had another date we went on. I bought us tickets to a Spurs game. Granted, The seats were not the best. Like, they were nosebleed seats. Super last minute thing. But it was a good game. And y'all, this night was so fun for me because he agreed to go even though he had drill. When he has drill, he does not like to do anything the night before. He wants to be in bed. He wants to be able to get enough sleep so where he can get up early and, you know, go. Especially from where he was living, where his unit's at. Basically, I had a lot closer traveling distance to his unit than he did from his house. He took that, you know, into consideration, and he was just like, yeah, he agreed to come with me this night. He had brought all his military stuff, his chamarra, his botas, his mochila. To me, it was so cute because I was just like, oh, look at him bringing his little spend the night bag and stuff, because he was over there like pretty often. We go to the game, and afterwards we were hungry, so we were like, you know, screw it, let's go get some wings. So we go to get some wings. We sat at the bar, and I knew the bartender, so she had already known his whole story and everything, and she was just like honored to meet the pendejo. And she hooked us up with some liquor, so we left a little litty. Y'all know me and pendejo, we some nasty freaks for each other. I was kissing on him when we left. I was feeling him. He was looking good. I was looking good. He was just like, dang, like I need to pull the car over. Where we went this night, I have no idea. He pulled over into some random neighborhood. I remember like looking outside, and we were like in a cul-de-sac. I don't know. We parked in front of someone's random house, did our thing in front of someone's random house. It was so fun because to me, when I'm in a relationship, especially if I'm like with somebody I love, I'm very submissive. I'm just like, what do you want for me to do? How you want my leg? Like what you want? What do you need for me to do for you? I was just excited at the fact that like I got to do something like wild and fun with pendejo. I was just like, man, like I get to be a freak. I get to be nasty with, you know, the man I love. Y'all, I made it like right on time. Love that for me. I got to do that with him. It's like I finally get to really embrace and embody that girlfriend status with him. After we had that cutesy little in the car moment, we go back home and he stays the night with me, and he wakes up in the morning, he gets ready for drill, and he leaves. Our communication is a consistent thing now, so we're talking all the time. You know, when you're talking so much, you kind of run out of things to talk about, but you're just talking to the person because you really want to talk to the person. That's kind of where we were at. And I remember one day, I think it was like that weekend or something, we were texting back and forth, and we were having like a BS conversation, and he basically tells me, hey, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Like, it's a really big thing, so like I understand, take your time to think about it, but I want to run it by you. And I'm like, of course, baby, anything for you. Like, what do you need? Will you tell me to jump? How high? What is the level you need me to be exactly off the ground? Like, what you need? He basically tells me that his lease is coming up for his apartment, and he had been looking for an apartment, but unfortunately he wasn't able to find one. And he was trying to ask his dad if he can go live with his dad again until he finds an apartment. But his dad didn't have enough room in his house to help him. He was like, I know you have your house, and I know you don't have the girls on the weekends, and it's really just you. And we've been hanging out together, you know, pretty often. We always see each other, we're always talking. He's like, so I was wondering if maybe I could stay with you in the meantime until I find an apartment. Now, y'all don't understand the amount of excitement that ran through my veins. When I read that, I was like, yes, like I wanted to scream from the rooftops, the man of my dreams wants to move in with me, bitch. Like, yes. Literally, like half of me was torn because I was like, yes, like I want this. But then the other half was just like, but wait, pump your brakes, girlfriend, because it ain't just you that's living in this house, okay? You are a mother, and you got some kids. I have these little girls that live with you. And although, yes, like I would love to be like, yes, when do you need to move your stuff in? I had to consider my girls because I'm very protective and I'm very funny about who I introduce to my girls. I am very funny about the female friends I have that I introduce to my girls. They really take into perspective. Now, I'm not like a bitch, like I'm not just like, no, you can't play with my kids. But I'm very observant and I'm very particular on who I bring around my kids. Ever since me and their dad split, I had never brought any man around my kids. I refuse to be that baby mama that just has men coming in and out my house. This is my friend, this is my friend. You know damn well that ain't no damn just friend. I'm not gonna be that woman that's consistently introducing my kids to all these different little boyfriends and stuff. So I was just like, this is a big step. I was thinking like, you know, I can't have that. Like, I can't just be having some like man roommate here. It was like one factor. Another factor was, y'all know, and I mentioned this a lot, I mentioned this many times, he knows I love my space. I love my personal time. I love being like to myself. I just really love my me time. And I was just like, bitch, if you let him move in with you, you're not gonna get that time. Like, if you want to sleep in your nightgown, you're not gonna get that time. Like, if I want to fart, I can't do that. If I want to like take a shit with the door open, I can't do that. If I want to sit here and kumbaya and meditate without someone looking at me weird, I can't do that, because this man's gonna be all up under your titty. Like, you're gonna let him move in. So that's another thing to take in. Like, are you ready for that? It was a lot of things to consider. So with all of that in mind, I called my older sister and I was just like, look, you know how crazy I am for him, and I love him, and I would give anything in the world truly to just have him live with me. I would love that fairy tale narrative, but it's not that easy with me having kids. Like, what should I do? Because, you know, my sister has kids. My sister's been through this before. I was like, what should I do? She was like, well, that you're not wrong with all those things that you're considering. She's like, but you definitely need to tell him, like, hey, you don't have to be here, but if you want to be here, there are going to be some ground rules that we're going to have to set, and some expectations, just because I do have kids. I basically told him what she told me to say, and I was just like, look, like, I hate to have to force a relationship on you, but if you want to be here, that's what's gonna have to be. Like, if you don't move in here, obviously we don't have to have a relationship, but if you're gonna be in my house, I refuse to have some like man roommate, some like little like boy toy living in my house in front of my kids. And then what do I tell my kids? Like, oh, he's just someone I hook up with, like, he's just my friend. Like, what kind of example does that set? At least be my boyfriend. Like, if you're not gonna be my husband, like, at least be my boyfriend. He was just like, okay. He's like, all right, well, yeah, it makes sense. And I told him, I was like, you're gonna have to help me with the bills, just like basic ground rules. And he was just like, okay, like, yeah, like, I got you. We agreed to be together, and we ended up being together. He was like, yeah, like we'll be together. Like, it happened so fast, and it's crazy how like it just shifted. Now, I'm sure y'all are wondering, like, okay, y'all were together, what happened when y'all were together? I will say, him moving in with me, I definitely mentally wasn't ready for it. Because yes, although I want to reiterate this, no one in this world understands how much this was everything I have ever wanted. My hopes, my dreams, my dream man. This man checks everything off my list. I was in love. And not even just his looks, he's handsome, but he's funny and he's sweet, and like, people don't really know him, and I like how awkward he is. I like how he has this little mean streak. I like how he knows what makes me tick. I love how he knows my body. I love how he's always forgiving. He's a good man. He's made me feel ways that no one has ever really made me feel. And I've learned so much knowing him. I wasn't mentally prepared because in my head, I felt like I didn't deserve him. And I really did self-sabotage the relationship with him living with me. I pushed him away a lot. I was always nitpicking and finding little things to get mad at him about that really didn't matter. And I was always threatening to like throw him out, and it's my house, it's my house. Like, I would throw it in his face all the time. Like, eventually it's gonna make someone feel uncomfortable, and like, they're not gonna want to be there. But him, the way he treated me, being in the relationship, I can't complain. Like, I really can't. He would go out of his way for me. He would pick me up little things on his way home. Like, if he was gone all day because he was working or whatever, he would be like, hey, do you want something from the gas station? Like, hey, like, I got you this, I got you the candy bar. There were times where he'd be like, I just want to be home with you and like watch movies with you. He was very attentive, very sweet. Valentine's Day had happened while we were together, and when he got off work, I didn't care where he got these from. I didn't care if he got them from the side of the street. I didn't care if he got them from a gas station, bitch. He brought me home chocolates and this beautiful bouquet of flowers. He laughed at me because he's like, why do you still have these dead flowers? But like, these flowers, I held on to these flowers till they was like crumbling in my hands. Like, those flowers meant everything to me, and I was just like, I don't want to get rid of them because you gave them to me. I think I actually might have saved like one of the flowers and put them in a book or something. Like, that whole thing meant so much to me. We went out on dates. He would go up to drill and be tired. He's gone all day and he still made time. He was like, okay, come on, let's go eat. We went out for drinks one time and I got so drunk, and he brought me home and he helped me get in the shower because I was like throwing up. Helped me shower. He brought me my clothes. He fed me chicken. He was just like, you need to eat here. Like, he he was really sweet. Like, he was really sweet. He was like my perfect kind of balance, because I don't want a man who's like too much and like expecting too much out of me. And he was just like that perfect, like socially awkward, like, if you go, I'll go. Like, okay, well, if you eat that, I'll eat that. Like, it was good. It wasn't like, well, I need you to do this. He wasn't like controlling. He wasn't like in my business. And then I asked him for advice. He was there to give me advice. He didn't overstep with the kids either. He was just like they have their dad. Like, if you need my help, I'll be here to help you, but I know they have their dad, so I'm not gonna like even get in that. He always kept his opinions about their dad to himself. He never talked mess about anything. He never even touched that subject. He was just like, look, like, I'm gonna stay in my lane, he needs to stay in his lane. Like, that's what it was. Like, it was never any drama. And I was kind of like mentally pushing him out the door. He would tell me like, hey, like, I found an apartment, and I wanted to keep this man in a box because I felt like I didn't deserve him. So when I had him, I was just like, no, like, you're mine. And so when he would tell me like, hey, like, I found an apartment, and without trusting our connection, trusting him, trusting our relationship, and like believing in our relationship, and knowing like, no, I know this man loves me. Without me knowing that, I didn't know that, and I couldn't trust like letting him go. I wanted to keep him there because I got him there, and I wanted to keep him there and like seclude him away from the world. I would pick arguments with him and be like, well, you just want to use me. I could see where he mentally started checking out and being like, this is too much for me, because he's already like a non-confrontational person in his own way. He doesn't want no problems, right? And then on top of that, he's got to play stepdaddy. On top of that, my dad's living with me. So even if he wanted to be his full-on self, he couldn't, because my dad was there. I could see how he would feel like my dad was always judging him. My dad was always in the business. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. And so we just agreed like maybe it was just bad timing. And at that time, I wasn't ready. At that time, he tried, but he wasn't ready. And so we just kind of like went our separate ways. But that is why in some of my Q&As and like past videos, when people ask me like, have you seen him, like, what's going on, we've remained friends. We've been in touch with each other. And there are times that'll go by that we won't talk, like we won't communicate with each other or anything, and that's okay, because I know deep down that he is a good person. I wanted to tell the story because it's crazy how it went from us being like crazy, wild, stupid, playing this game with each other, to us being like, you know what, like, let's give it a try. And it just was like bad timing. I wanted to end the series on a good note because I just want to respect people. I don't want people being out here like, that guy's an a-hole. Like, he did have some asshole tendencies, okay? I also did. I will go ahead and end up in the whole series here. Hope you guys enjoy the story. I hope y'all enjoyed the happy ending. And if I happen to think of like a side story between me and Pendejo, I most definitely will share it with you guys, because there are many more crazy events that happen between us. I just don't want to keep putting him in a bad light because, why? Like, I really don't have beef with him, and I just kind of want to steer away from like talking about him. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below, leave an emoji, leave a heart emoji, show me some love. I know you guys already do, so I appreciate the ones that do. Hit that notification bell for the next time I post your favorite story times, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.